Thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, where we discuss the latest and greatest news in the world of sports. I am Ben.
I'm Alex. Don't you just love that song?
It is. It's a great one. I love your little pea shooters, and then you
these are not pea shooters.
Blow out the dust.
These are 6 shooters, and I'm just
little 6 shooters, and you just blow out the dust.
Yeah,
it's great.
Did you know that right now there's a soccer game going on?
I do know that. I have it up right now.
But did you know it's actually been delayed due to adverse weather conditions?
In France. No, I did not. Why don't you tell me about that?
Yeah, the Ukraine Northern Ireland game, it just got delayed. So you know what? We are so up to date right now with the world of sports.
What's the weather going on? What is it? Is it like, I know it's been raining a lot.
It just said that there's adverse weather conditions. I don't know if it just opened.
Maybe it's like a thunderstorm or something really bad.
Yeah, it claims this and then says #Euros 2016. So
Northern Ireland currently have a 1-0 lead over Ukraine in that game.
Yeah, with a goal from Gareth McCauley.
Yes.
In the second half. But this isn't our soccer show, so we're not going to get too much into that.
I think we should mention that England did beat Wales this morning. 2-1 England, score in the 92nd minute through Daniel Sturridge. It's a big game. Those are neighboring countries' real rivalry.
True. Yeah, and I did call England coming out of that pool there of that group. So
they currently are in first with 4 points. Wales
second.
Currently second with Slovakia as well with 3 points. So
I said England and Slovakia. I think. Who's the fourth team in that group?
Russia. They have 1 point.
I don't remember if I said Russia or them.
I feel like you said Russia.
I think I did too.
If you're interested, go back and listen to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. We talked about it there.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, who saw what happened with Russia coming? There was something that you wanted to mention. Today, before we get into our regular show, we did talk about the Warriors and the Cavs Game 6, which is tonight. We did talk about that game, but did you know that is exactly a year ago today that the Warriors won the finals in Cleveland last year? Did you know that?
And in Game 6. So we literally have like a deja vu.
If it happens today, it's going to be Game 6 in Cleveland. Warriors clinch. If that happens, that'll be literally to the day. If anything, probably to the same time too, roughly, that this happens.
Do you know what other team? There's one other team that won it on this day.
Yeah, like this actual day, or you mean the same day twice?
The same day.
What? I mean, you mean today? You mean
yes.
June 16th?
And it's really ironic. I'll give you a hint there.
The Cavaliers.
No.
The Warriors back in the 80s.
No. Who does everyone compare this team to?
The Bulls.
Of what year?
96.
The 96 Bulls.
Oh man, that was good.
June 16th.
You always ask me this.
Well, I gave you like 20 questions here.
Well, but the year you didn't. You asked me like. You always ask me these just shot out of a cannon questions, and I've been right like the last 4 of them. Yeah.
Oh, with Cliff Lee, you were on the money.
Yeah, age and last time he played. Man, I couldn't do that again because I forget. But we're not talking about that today. We have some fun news. We're going to talk about real quick. We're going to talk about some news from the NFL, but we're going to talk about the U.S. Open, like we said. We're going to get into some Olympic basketball and notably a lot of notable people not playing this upcoming Olympics. We're going to talk about the NHL and what seems to be a confirmed move, expansion for a team in Vegas. And we're going to stick in the NFL with a conversation that started this week by some quarterbacks, notably Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger, Saints, Drew Brees, and most recently, more so, coach of the Packers, Mike McCarthy, but about going for 2 now that it's such they moved the extra point back. Last year we saw more teams go for 2. As a Steeler fan, believe me, I saw it a lot. And these guys wanted to go for 2 almost every time. And so we're going to get into that. And then, of course, we're going to also recap what we talked about last episode, not today, but our prior episode about the OJ Simpson Made in America documentary. I am up to date. Unfortunately, Ben hasn't watched it, so I'm not going to get into spoilers. But
I keep not having time. I need to watch it.
I think you know what happens, so I'm not going to.
I think I know the end result.
Well,
I have a good idea.
See, I'm thinking this next episode, which is tomorrow, but they're not going to have it tonight because of the game. We'll get into it. I'll get into it when we get there. But we're going to go ahead and start with this quick news out of the NFL. And if you listen to our football podcast, a little bit of news about Von Miller. Von Miller, of course, declined a contract of upwards of $114 million because of language of the. With 6 years, he agreed on both of those terms, but the language of the deal when it came down to the 114.5, excuse me, the guaranteed money. He wanted upwards of 55, and they offered him 45. So he wants more. But he came out today, and he was on Chelsea Handler a few days ago saying he wants to be a Bronco forever. I just want the same feeling from the Broncos. Unfortunately, he has only a month to the upcoming season before he has to sign that or just sit out the season. But he came out today and did say there's no chance that he plays next season under the 2016 season under the franchise tag. So if they don't get a deal done, sounds pretty sure that he's going to sit out.
Do you think he'd really sit out, though?
He said that he's saying there's no chance.
Yeah, a lot of people say that, but Cam Chancellor said that, and then after he realized the team wasn't doing too well without him, he came back.
Well, see, we talked about this in the football show, in a sense, there's kind of a pool of powers here, back and forth, a struggle here for who really has the what's the word I'm looking for, who has the leverage here. The Broncos, in a sense, do because they can literally do this for the next 3 years to him.
Yeah, they could put him on the franchise tag. Then there's other tags you could put him on as well.
Yeah, so. They could fifth-year option or whatever if they didn't already hit that. They can literally tag him for the next 3 years, and he would just have to sit out. You know what I mean? And the thing is, because he's not going to be a free agent, he can't. There's probably a clause where he can't just cut his contract, so he would have to deal with it. And we've seen before that Elway is not one to break the bank for one specific player. I mentioned it in the podcast on our episode. I don't know if you listened to Ben, but I attribute it to a lot like when he played with the Broncos. He was the only guy in those years he couldn't win a Super Bowl. And then in 97 and 99, when they won back to back, they had pieces. They had Terrell Davis, they had Shannon Sharp, but they drafted those guys. They didn't have to go overly, and they never did. They never overly paid for those guys. We saw Shannon Sharp go to the Ravens eventually. Elway retired. We saw Terrell Davis unfortunately get injured before he could really, to demand that huge contract because his contract wasn't up yet. But we've seen it before. So interesting to see, to say the least, if he sits out this season.
Yeah, and for Von Miller, you can't be happy when you see your teammate, Brandon Marshall, he got a new 4-year deal on Tuesday, so he's getting his money, and Miller's not, though. So.
Yeah, and Fletcher Cox just got
Fletcher Cox got a monster deal. He got the most guaranteed
also.
Money of any non-quarterback.
Of all time.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And that's going to – see, that's good and bad for Von, too, because Olivier Vernon got a pretty decent deal from the Giants. And like we said, Fletcher Cox, that's good and bad. Fletcher Cox signed $102.6 million, and he received $36.299 million in guaranteed money with an additional $19.25 in additional salary guarantees, pretty much $55.549 in guarantees total within 9 months of his signing. So that does bad and good things for him, I suppose.
Do you think a deal gets done? I honestly don't see a way a deal gets done right now.
I don't, because it seems like there's so much animosity right now between the two sides.
To be honest, here's my big grief about this, okay? And this is
grief.
This is in sports in general, but it seems like it's always in the NFL where you have these holdouts, these guys wanting new contracts, etc., okay? Here's my problem. When you were a rookie, when you were not a big-name player, you agreed to make this amount of money. You agreed to make X amount of dollars for X amount of years, okay?
Okay.
I can understand you maybe wanting a raise if you do good, but you agreed to that contract. Shouldn't you wait it out and wait until your time is up for a restructure of a deal instead of just holding out? Because here's my problem. If I signed Von Miller to a huge deal, he's got his money. Now he starts playing terribly.
Or gets hurt.
Well, getting hurt, I don't think you can really predict. That's not on Von Miller. I'm just going to say he doesn't play well.
He just starts not playing well. Okay.
Are you going to give me that money back?
No.
No. So it goes both ways here. You agreed to this contract, live up to it, and take the contract. When your time is up for a new deal, then we'll talk. But, you don't play good. You don't give me that money back. So how is it fair that I need to reward you for playing good?
That's fair. I get you.
That's my problem, because every year you have these camp holdouts. Everyone does it. The agents are influencing these guys. Oh, I also am an agent for this guy, and I got him this money. With the market, you can get a lot more if you do the same thing. So you need to hold out and all this stuff. Drew Rosenhaus has done it for years. There's a lot of other names too. So here's my problem with it. He's getting a lot of money here. It's not like he's a broke guy. Just take the contract and play football, dude. That's
I
my
like
problem
that
with
way of looking at it. I like that. I enjoy that. I can agree with you on that.
It's not like Von Miller's hurting for money here. I mean, come on. He's a great player. I'd say he's one of the best edge rushers in the game, obviously.
Oh, no, we were talking about last episode. I say J.J. Watt, Von Miller,
Yeah, but J.J.
Luke
Watt
Kuechly.
and Von Miller don't play the same position.
I'm saying
though.
J.J. Watt, Von Miller, Luke Kuechly. Those three people are the only people I can say, in my opinion, are the best at their position. Cornerback is always a discussion.
Okay. There's a lot of good names out there, too. You could throw Sherman,
I'm
Josh
saying,
Norman,
but I'm saying
Revis.
cornerback always is a discussion. And then obviously on the offensive side of the ball, receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, even linemen, that's always a discussion. I can say, personally, in my opinion, the best linebacker in the league is Luke Kuechly. The best rush linebacker, whatever you would call Von Miller, is Von Miller. And the best defensive lineman is J.J. Watt.
I agree with that.
So, I mean it in that sense, you know. But we will have to see what goes on. Honestly,
I don't see how a deal gets done. They're on such different sides of the spectrum here. I don't see how they can sort of compromise.
Yeah, I can't either. And a little bit more fun information, real quick, from the football side. Now that we went through all of that trouble with the Von Miller contract, but a little bit of fun stuff before we get into the 2-point conversion conversation, which is fun in and of itself. Carson Wentz. You're familiar with Carson Wentz, I imagine.
The recently drafted Eagles quarterback from North Dakota State.
Do you see what happened to him this week?
When he was trapped in the bathroom, right?
He got trapped in a bathroom. He got locked in there on Wednesday at a gas station in New Jersey.
How does this even happen? Why don't you tell us?
You know what? I don't have an idea. So pretty much he said that he got locked in the bathroom at a New Jersey gas station. The attendants with garden shears and another guy with the leg kick. My question is, if he had the shears, why'd you need the leg kick? I
don't know.
I'm very confused, but that's a funny story.
It's ironic, yeah. It's pretty funny.
He's a big guy too, getting trapped in a.
You gotta imagine a gas station bathroom is probably pretty small too.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's not very big. I wouldn't say excessively small, but definitely big, not big.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in a gas station bathroom. You can only imagine. I'm not saying maybe he was at a mom and pop gas station where it's not really known.
Well, it's also New Jersey.
Maybe he's at an AM/PM where it's nice and clean in there. But what if he got trapped in there right after someone just got out? And it was someone
disgusting.
I mean, it could have been really bad in there. And what if he's claustrophobic or something?
Yeah,
it could have been. I think it could have been a lot worse. We're making a little joke out of it, but could have been a lot worse for Carson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's pretty funny, though. I mean,
that's a little funny. But getting on to, like we said, a little bit more football news. Did you see the conversation this week about the 2-point conversion?
Yes, I did.
Did you see all of the fun people that were talking about it?
Yes, we have people like the Steelers with Roethlisberger. They went for a lot of 2-point conversions last year.
Yes, they
Drew
did.
Brees of the Saints decided he would chip in there. Mike McCarthy of the Packers also had a quote there, Alex.
Yes, I'm going to have all of that for you in just a second. But anyway, so Ben Roethlisberger, my favorite football player of all time.
All time?
Interesting.
Time.
Yeah, all time. Well, you know how a diehard Steeler fan I am.
I'm surprised you're going over like a Bradshaw, though.
I wasn't alive to watch him play. It's different, you know?
I agree with that.
My mom was a Steeler fan in the 70s, so she passed that on to me. But yeah, no, I watched him. I've met him. You know, I've watched him since he was a rookie. So, yeah, he's my favorite.
That's awesome. I have met him as well.
Did you? Where'd you meet him?
Yeah. So here in Northern California, every year they have a celebrity.
That's
golf
where
tournament.
I met him.
Yeah, it's at Lake Tahoe. The course is Edgewood. A lot of
it's a good course.
It's like the most notable celebrity golf tournament. It's at Lake Tahoe.
Met a lot of people there.
Yeah, I've met Aaron Rodgers multiple times.
I've met
Charles Barkley multiple times. There's a lot of regulars that go, and you mentioned Roethlisberger. I know Rodgers goes. Romo's been going lately. Steph Curry's been going.
Donald Trump used to go when he was just, the apprentice.
He could never go now.
No, he can't. He couldn't.
He would get killed there.
There's just too many people, yeah.
But Barkley's a regular that goes. There's a lot of former actors that go as well. I know Ray Romano's been there. I've met him before.
I met Anthony Anderson, Cheech
Marin. Jordan goes a lot, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So I've gone there probably 4 or 5 times now. I haven't gone recently, but
yeah, I haven't been for a few
it's
years.
a fun event.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not too far. Here in Sacramento, it's like a 2-hour drive. So
yeah, that's very true. But back to the story, at least. So Ben Roethlisberger, who's always one to kind of want to, he always wants the ball in his hand. He says he wants the offense to go for 2 after every touchdown. He said, why not go for 2 when the Steelers went 8 for 11 last season, leading the league in attempts and conversions. And they even have a layout of all the players that caught these 2-point conversions, whether it was running back Fitzgerald Toussaint, Will Johnson, fullback kind of H-back, rookie tight end last year, Jesse James, the outlaw, Antonio Brown in week 2 and 10. D'Angelo Williams in week 9, Heath Miller, unfortunately one of my favorite Steelers who retired, week 2, and Marcus Wheaton in week 1. Yeah, they were pretty efficient. Obviously, being me and watching all these games, yeah, they were very efficient. And it's funny, too, because the interviewer then goes, do you think Mike Tomlin would be all for it? And he goes, it was Mike Tomlin's idea. It's Coach Tomlin's idea.
So, obviously.
Mm-hmm. And then so later that week, Drew Brees was on a radio show, and he was asked about the idea. He said, personally, I feel like if we went for 2, we can make it more than 50% of the time. He said, I think fourth down, depending on where you're on the field, I feel like if it's a manual situation, we could convert most for fourth down. So I'm all for it. And then he said, it's funny because you find these quarterbacks that have these type of coaches, and he goes, do you think that Sean Payton would like the idea? And he goes, I don't think I need to tell Coach Payton to be more aggressive. I think we got that part taken care of.
Look what he did in the Super Bowl against the Colts onside kick and start the second half. He's a gutsy guy.
Yeah, and then they kind of even compared it to, funny enough, the Golden State Warriors. Where they said, bring that Splash Brothers philosophy to the NFL. Brees said, I think there's probably something to be said for it, especially now that they've moved the extra point back. So he's just looking for more points. And then on your end, Ben, being the Packer fan that you are,
yes, I am.
Coach Mike McCarthy likes the QB's idea to try for 2 every time. He said, personally, I definitely agree with Ben and Drew. I think especially with Aaron being our quarterback, I would have 0 issues as an offensive coach going for it every single time. What do you think about this? Do you think it kind of? I'm sorry. And Rosberger said something that I'm very much a fan of because it's just something that really screams to the kind of person and player he is. He did say, put it in our hands. I want the ball. Any player would relish that opportunity. And you feel like any of those big players would. So what do you think? Do you think it kind of changes the dynamics of the game, where they say they want to get rid of kickoffs, they want to get rid of extra points, and people are like, no, that just kind of really it's going to be like not even football to a point. Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? What's your opinion on it?
Okay, before I get into that, I wanted to mention that of 32 teams last year, 30 teams did attempt a 2-point conversion, and as a whole, the NFL was 50 of 102 on 2-point
That's just
conversions.
Under 50%.
Yeah, so literally 49%. While teams who elected to go for 1 with the pushback extra point, as you mentioned,
missed a lot.
94%. Okay, so if you do the math, 94 out of 100, you have 94 points. Mm-hmm. You have 49% times 2 would be 98 out of 100. So statistically, based on last season, you were at an advantage to go for 2, not necessarily by a percentage base, but with the added point there, okay? Mm-hmm. So you have that into effect. Here's what I think about this. I think if you have the playmakers on offense, I think depending on the game flow, I would agree with it. A lot of times the Steelers would do it, as you mentioned, after they would score like a long bomb, a long series
where the
momentum,
defense is kind
of tired, wind down there. Mm-hmm. I think absolutely go for it. Obviously, if you just tied the game at the end of the game on a Hail Mary, you're not going to go for 2.
It's definitely something that's situation-based. And Rosberg even said, too, and he says it would be with the pace of the game. He says you go for it twice, you make it, you make it, or you say you go for it, you miss it, you make it the next time. There's your 14 points right there.
Yeah, and just like you would have kicked 2 extra points. So exactly. I think if you have the playmakers, absolutely. You look at these 3 guys who are spoken out here. You have Rodgers, Roethlisberger, and Drew Brees, some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Well, Rodgers, I haven't heard him say anything about it, but
McCarthy,
I don't think
I'm sure McCarthy's speaking for Rodgers. Rodgers is a lot of times he's more of a kind of an ego guy. He really likes to be in control, so I think he's being fair for this as well.
I don't think he would say no.
Yeah, so I think if you have those guys, I can understand going for it a lot of time. If you have a guy like Blaine Gabbert from the Niners, I'm going to say, not necessarily one of the big names, a lot of not really good playmakers there in San Francisco, I could understand not going for it. I think it's really situational, but I say situational, yes. Go for it every single time, I would disagree with. I would not do that.
Okay.
But definitely situational. Like I mentioned, if you score a long touchdown run, a bomb, if you really had a long series to wind down the defense and you have a lot of momentum there, go for it. You could also have a lot of interesting play calling here, a lot of trick plays. I sort of compare it to last season, the Cardinals-Packers playoff game.
Oh, yeah.
When that game was
unique play calls
as a fan, but unique play calls in overtime. I remember the touchdown was a shovel pass to Fitzgerald, something you don't see all the time.
So that's funny too, because as a Steeler fan, Arians used to be offensive coordinator there, and I've seen that play. Except for they throw that to they would pitch it. It would be Heath Miller.
So you have a lot of trickery there. I remember in the Super Bowl in 2011, Alex, when our 2 teams actually played each other, the Steelers went for a 2-point conversion. They had Antoine Randall L. throw a pass for a 2-point conversion. So you have a lot of trick play options there, which if you're a team that likes to do that, the Saints being one of them, they have some playmakers like CJ Spiller they could really throw in there. So I can understand doing it. I'd say more so situational, though.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. You know what? We got so into our conversation and talking everything, we didn't take our first break.
We're going to have to do it now then.
We're going to take our first break. We'll take our first break real quick, and we'll be back with Olympic basketball news. So don't go anywhere.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And we are back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Just a quick update. The U.S. Open currently going on here, round 1 in Oakmont. Its play is under suspension here. The play's been suspended for weather. But we have Andrew Landry coming in, leading the clubhouse right now. He's at 5 under through 13 holes. And then we have just a handful of names here tied at second. Bubba Watson, Lee Westwood, Danny Lee, and Alex, probably the best name on this list, Bryson DeChambeau.
That's a good name.
That's a great name.
That's a very good name.
So they are all at 2 under through 7, 8, 9, 10 holes. We have a lot of guys not teeing off as well. So yeah. Zach Johnson, some notables here. He's at 1 under through 7. Jordan Spieth is even par through 7. Rory McIlroy's 1 over currently. So a lot of guys not teeing off as well, like Jason Day, the world's number 1. So it's still really early. Unfortunately, the weather has suspended play, and hopefully they can get back up and rolling there.
Yeah, man. It's getting ready to be a big U.S. Open this weekend.
Yeah, Oakmont, one of the toughest courses in the world to play on. So I would expect a lot of low-scoring rounds.
All right. Well, as we move...
Actually, I mean, you could say high-scoring rounds there.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Sorry, but...
It's okay. Well, as we move from the U.S. Open to the U.S. national basketball team, as we said, there's a lot of notable names that aren't participating in the Summer Olympics this year. Ben, do you have some of those names for us?
Yes, I do. So Steph Curry is the most recent one to announce he's not going to be playing in Rio. Obviously, he is nursing those injuries there with a knee and ankle injury. Some other notables that are not participating would be LaMarcus Aldridge of the Spurs. He supposedly has a finger injury. Anthony Davis has been sidelined. He's not going to be there. Other notables are John Wall, Chris Paul, and Blake Griffin of the Clippers are not going. LeBron and Carmelo Anthony are still on the fence about this. You know, a lot of people uncertain with the Zika virus going on in Brazil with the mosquito bites and transferring the virus to them. So a lot of people are on the fence about going.
Okay. Well,
don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of people on this list that are still, as it stands right now, going. People like Kevin Durant, Westbrook, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, James Harden. So they'd be heavy favorites and a lot of great players, but a lot of people bowing out.
Yeah, and I think it's not a huge thing. I mean, America has always been so far. I mean, I don't mean this in a bad way, of course, by any means, but they've always been so far ahead when it comes to basketball and the Olympics. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. I know there's still some very notable names playing. First time for. I always talk about my favorite basketball team would be the Kings, and DeMarcus Cousins gets to play this year. Still pretty notable names, that are going to be able to participate this year in the Olympics.
Yeah, I always had not necessarily a problem with the Olympics, but because they do obviously try to pick the best teams. Colangelo, they are in charge. So I always thought of an idea I would like to see is maybe, okay, you get in the Olympics one time, and then that's it. You only get to play one time because there's so many stars that are not going to be able to play because you only have so many people on the roster.
Yeah.
So I would like to see, okay, you get one shot at it, and then that's it. Because I think to some of these guys, a spot on the Olympics is really not that big of a deal. I think to a guy like DeMarcus Cousins, who is truly trying to get his name out there, it's going to be his first time doing it. It's obviously a big accomplishment for him. But you look at a guy like LeBron, he's been doing it, 3-4 times already. He's accomplished. He's a zillionaire. He's won MVPs. He's won championships, won final MVPs. What's a gold medal to LeBron?
That's true now.
Right? Because I don't think a gold medal is really that big of a deal to some of these guys. I think you look at some of the lesser sports in the Olympics, like archery. Obviously, that's like winning the championship for them. That's their highlight of their career. Some of these guys in basketball, I think a gold medal doesn't really mean much to them.
Yeah, I think it's a cool thing, and some guys maybe it's just another thing.
Right. So I would like to see you guys play one time in the Olympics, and then you're done. Let other guys come in, because obviously you mentioned here in the United States, the list goes on and on. They're the favorites every year, really, no matter who is playing and who's not. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to see that. Who knows if it'll happen? I doubt it. But
yeah, we'll be interested to see who with the official roster when we get closer.
Yeah, they're going to have to narrow it down. They're currently at about 31 names. They have to go down to 12 by the time the Olympics start.
Yeah, that's just a few more than they're allowed. But
so say for instance you were a player. Would you be scared about this virus? Say you're completely healthy, you have no injury concerns. Are you going to be scared about the virus, the Zika virus?
It might be kind of in the back of my head or something. It might kind of bother me. Yeah. I don't know.
There's a lot of concerns with Rio, not just the virus here, the clean water issue. We've had a lot of problems with that. Rio's really high in crime rate, so obviously you'd probably spend most of your time in your hotel room if you're not training with the team or playing. So, but there is the issues there. It's really run down city right now.
Yeah. So, I'm interested at least. I like the Olympics. You a fan
I
of
love the Olympics. Absolutely. I love the Summer Olympics more so than the Winter Olympics.
Yes, I'm more of a Summer Olympic person.
Yeah, so
as well.
We'll be talking about the Olympics here as it gets closer, but there's obviously Michael Phelps is going to be swimming again. Who knows what
maybe Ben and I will even watch some Olympics together. Who knows?
We just might.
Yeah, maybe some of that soccer.
Olympic soccer. Neymar is going to be playing for Brazil.
Ooh, all right.
He actually had an option for Copa America or the Olympics, and he opted to go for the Olympics.
That's pretty cool.
So we'll have to see. The Olympics are great. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on to not Olympic news, but NHL news. As the Stanley Cup Finals wind down, we have news of a possible expansion team heading to the Sin City.
Yes, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Give us some information on that, Ben.
Okay, so it is going to be happening. The NHL is moving to Vegas. It's going to be happening probably as soon as the 2017-2018 season, so a year after this one upcoming. So 2 years from now, pretty much. And, it's going to be being played at the brand-new T-Mobile Stadium, which holds about 17,500 people, so definitely a lot of people there.
Yeah, about a typical hockey stadium.
It's brand new, state-of-the-art. Just opened up in April right on the Strip near the New York Casino. So it's definitely in a big area. So and it's going to be hosting things like UFC coming up, UFC 200, also UFC 202, which is in August. And there's going to be some preseason hockey games going on next year. The Kings are scheduled to play with also the Avalanche and the Stars. Okay. So it's going to be having some events here. And, it's also some things like the Miss USA competition. So
wow.
It's a big city. Vegas is really trying to do a lot to add sports there. The Vegas Raiders are trying to happen. So
yeah.
What do you think about NHL with Vegas?
So you think this gives it any kind of more possibility to the Raider move?
Absolutely. If it's going to be a bigger market here with the NHL team. It's already a huge market. You have stars all over the place: Britney Spears, Celine Dion, Elton John. The list goes on and on. People that have played in Vegas and currently have concerts going on now. So I feel like the games are going to be sold out all the time. It's another thing to do in Vegas here. You have all these shows, the clubs, the casinos, always going to be sold out, even for the opposing teams. Hey, I'm from Colorado. We're making a trip to Vegas. Let's go see the Avalanche play when they're in town.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be sold out, and it's a huge market, brand new stadium. I think it's obviously a positive for the chance that they're going to try and get the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, I'm not a huge. I don't have a huge opinion on Vegas sports. Remains to be seen. I think there's a lot of temptation with Vegas sports, but. We'll see where that goes.
Yeah, a lot of people are scared with the whole gambling thing, and let people gamble. It's not that big of a deal. So, Alex, what do you think about a team name? So nothing's been officially announced yet. They're maybe looking at the Black Knights, which you're shaking your head, and I'm in agreement with you. I'm not a big fan of that.
I would say if there wasn't already the New Jersey Devils, I would say the Las Vegas Devils.
I'm thinking of the Gamblers. I think
what about the Aces?
That's kind of like the Gamblers.
The Las Vegas Aces.
So that's a good one too. I could picture like the Gamblers and their logo is like a royal flush or something.
Las Vegas Hangover.
Las Vegas hangover.
What about the
Las Vegas alcohol?
The Las Vegas blackjacks.
It's a good one too.
Aces. I like aces.
So Bill Foley is the guy who's behind the $1 billion bid here for Vegas, and he is a graduate of West Point. So he's looking at the Black Knights as sort of a tribute to that. But yeah, I'm not a fan either. Or what about the Bandits? That's a good one for Vegas, the Bandits.
Yeah, that's because everybody's always making out with money, you know?
I could just picture, a guy with a bandana over his face.
Yeah, making out of there. Well, it makes you think of the earlier Maddens because they had like...
create your own team, right?
Yeah, and one of them was the Bandits. And yeah, he looked literally like that with the thing over his face.
Yeah, I would love to see the Gamblers, though. I think that'd be great.
I'm going to say aces.
It's a good one, too. It's got to be something Vegas-related. I don't want to see the Black Knights. Come on.
The Las Vegas retirement homes.
The Las Vegas Black Knights.
No, I don't like that.
No, I'm not a fan either.
We got to take one more quick break because
quick one.
Our breaks got staggered, but we'll take one more quick break, and then we're going to just talk a little bit about the last couple episodes of OJ, and we're going to head out of here. So we'll be right back at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Dun, 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 dun. We're back, guys. Hey, welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. So, for those of you we talked about a couple episodes ago, the OJ Simpson Made in America documentary for 30 for 30. Have you been watching it, Ben? I know you.
I'm sorry, but I haven't.
That's okay. I was going to say at the beginning of the show.
It's available on ESPN, the Watch ESPN app. It's on demand, so you can actually watch even Part 4 and Part 5, which haven't been officially released on TV
Friday
yet.
And Saturday.
So that's coming up, but you can actually watch that now. So if you're a fan of like the binge watching option, you could just watch all 5 right at once. Yeah,
and so like I didn't want to get too into it at the beginning of the show because we had other things to talk about. But if you're just mainly interested in OJ Simpson in terms of what he is most famous for, to more so this decade, and the unfortunate murder and everything, skip to number 3. That's when it starts. The number 1 and 2 are really giving you an idea of the world that he lived in.
Kind of building up the legend of OJ Simpson in LA. That's what I've been hearing.
In a sense, the first episode was really OJ in college and what LA in terms of racial division was at that time, and really the world you're living in. And then number 2 was a lot of his football career, going to the Bills, and meeting his wife that unfortunately was the one that got killed, Nicole. But the second one, you're really just more understanding, again, the racial tension in L.A. and who OJ really was. He used to say, I'm not black, I'm OJ. And he always said he never saw race in that sense, but he also was very smart in the sense of he really tailored what he did to who he was around. He surrounded himself around wealthy white people in that time, and he lived in a wealthy, as they say, white neighborhood. And so it's really interesting. But number 3 starts off with the Rodney King beatings and riots, and it's a pretty no holds barred show. Like, it just gets going, and it ends with they're about to start the trial. So if you're more
that's how episode 3 ends.
Yeah,
so we're kind of building a little cliffhanger effect into 4 and 5.
The ending of episode 2, he puts in his plea for quote 100% absolutely positively 100% not guilty. Was what he said.
So what have been some of your big takeaways from what you've seen so far?
I understand now what they meant by what. Pretty much that, like, when people who were the casual fan of OJ and knew him as the Hertz commercial guy, the Bills, he was a commentator for a while with football, they saw it as this possible. Like, I don't see how he possibly could do this. Because if you watch 2, especially number 2, episode 2, you really saw the kind of person he was in the public, and he was always so nice, and he was a kind person. And he was good-looking OJ. All the ladies loved him. All the guys adored him as fans, And he really did transcend race because he would, hang out with these people who maybe weren't the best. I don't mean to get into the whole race thing here, but they, in terms of talking about this, documentary, they weren't naturally fans of African American people, and they loved OJ. And so it's crazy because you see that side, and then you hear 911 calls and stuff of when he had been accused and in trouble for beating her too before.
Right, I have heard the
eventual
911
merger.
call.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
And you hear him screaming and yelling and angry and stuff, and you really see this other side of him. So it's crazy to see and understand for us who weren't as old during that time, how people were like, it's so crazy that he did it. And then also, I saw a lot with the People versus OJ in that FX series, but also seeing literally the side of people who were just, he didn't do it. It's just the cops trying to put another black man down, kind of thing like that. And seeing really where the world was in terms of its ideology and its stance on all of those problems. So it's really good. It really is really good. And I'm really interested to see the next episodes. I don't know.
Yeah, we have a little gap. I
don't know if I want to wait till Friday.
We have a little gap here. I'll probably watch them between now and then. I'm really excited for them. Everyone's talking about it. I feel like it's going to be really good.
Yeah, it's really good. But you guys should watch it. Like Ben said, they're on ESPN On Demand and on the Watch ESPN app. But nonetheless, there's not much more to talk about it other than it's getting great.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited for it. I want to watch it.
Okay, man. Well, I hope you do, and when you do, let me know. But unfortunately,
we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. But unfortunately, we got to get going.
Just really quick here, that Northern Ireland Ukraine game you mentioned was suspended due to weather. It is back up, and it just went final here, so Northern Ireland came out on top 2-0, and this is their first tournament game win in 34 years.
Wow.
So Northern Ireland now with 3 points in the group. Ukraine having lost also 2-0 to Germany. They're done in the Euros. They're just finished out their last game against Poland and call it a day. So,
well, there you go, Ben. Got some of your soccer in today.
Have to.
But, of course, as always, you can find us on Golden State Media Concepts Podcast. I'm sorry, GSMC. I said the whole thing, podcast.com. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram. We always forget to say Instagram.
We have Instagram? Okay.
We do.
Did not know that.
GSMC _ I'm sorry. I was saying like yesterday because we mentioned Instagram for the first time. _ sports. And you can find us on Facebook at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. As always, I am Alex.
And I am Ben. You can also find us on places like iTunes, on iHeartRadio, Stitcher, whatever your Google Play, whatever your favorite app is to follow and listen to podcasts.
Yeah, whatever you like, whenever you like, however you like.
That's right. That was great. That was great.
How did you like that?
I loved it.
Thanks, man. All right, well, we're going to get out of your hair here. Tune in next week. We'll have the recap of the finals and U.S. Open and anything you can imagine.
Anything to happen between now and then.
Here at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast.
That's right.
Bye, guys.